Hello, everyone. This is the HISD occupational therapy team meeting you again one more time, second week of this COVID-19 YouTube home edition that we are bringing to you guys. We're trying to give you some just some guidance and some instruction, um, not instruction, just more guidance for you and your kids at home. For this episode, we're going to be covering fundamentals of fine motor. This is part one, so look out for part two next week. Um, so again, this is fundamentals of fine motor part one, enhancing participation at home. My name is Eric Leon, and we also have Rebecca Allen, Erica Gramillion Neal, Norma Rocha, and Christine Toledo as part of this team that, again, we're working hard behind the scenes to bring this to you guys. So let's get started. So what is fine motor? I'm sure you guys have heard of, maybe your teachers or maybe you've seen it on some websites or just people have told you about fine motor, back when, we were in school. So what exactly is fine motor? And fine motor, just to give you a simple definition, it's basically the use of small muscles in hands and wrists that allow children to use common objects. And of course, at the schools and then also at home. And also just one point to know is that fine motor skills are not just in kids, even adults. Obviously, we all have hands and we all have wrists, so we also use these skills on a daily basis. So the types of fine motor skills, one of the things as occupational therapists, in school, we learned about the different types, and those are reach, grasp, and carry. These are just some of those skills. Now for reach, that basically means when you're extending your arm and moving forward to grab something or to place something. So for example, if you're opening a refrigerator and you're reaching forward to grab the ketchup bottle, that's reach. For grasp, when you're actually moving your arm forward and then moving, you're extending your fingers to grab that bottle, that's the grasp. For carry, for that you're transporting the ketchup bottle from the refrigerator and then placing it on a surface, maybe on the kitchen counter. So following with our ketchup example, now you want to actually put it on the counter, so you voluntarily open your hand and you place it. So you're intentionally letting go of this object. The next one is in-hand manipulation, and basically, let's say that you're walking and then maybe you feel like the ketchup bottle is about to fall. You'll adjust it to hold on again to that ketchup bottle so it doesn't fall on the floor. Bilateral hand use. Maybe you're creating yourself a sandwich at home and you open up the one piece of the sandwich and now you're with the other hand squirting the ketchup bottle or squirting some of the ketchup from the ketchup bottle onto your sandwich. So that's using two hands together to accomplish the activity. So this is all fine motor, different types of fine motor skills. So this brings us on to the next thing, which is occupational therapists. And what do we do? What do school-based occupational therapists do at school? One of the things that we do is we collaborate with teachers and we consult with teachers to help to adapt the environment, in this case, the school environment, so that your students can participate in the classroom and then also other school activities during the school day. For this next one, it's what do occupational therapists do to support learning? For this one, obviously at this point, at this junction. We're also collaborating with parents to try and consult, coach, and collaborate in order to adapt the learning environment at home. So obviously right now there's just a lot of different changes happening. So part of these series that we're doing is to help and give general strategies to the parents that are home with kids with special needs to help them to adapt their environment so that the student can learn as best as they can at this point in time, with the COVID-19. The next slide will be covered by Rebecca, so we'll go on to her.
So this section is going to be on the impact of fine motor skills on participation in school or any activities you might be doing at home that support your the education. So students use fine motor skills to manage school supplies, manipulate classroom materials, turn the pages of a book, type on a computer, and color with crayons are just a few examples. Fine motor skills are necessary for in and outside of the classroom for activities such as eating lunch, playing on the playground, and fastening clothing. So student participation is in many ways intertwined with the ability to use their fine motor skills to complete their role. When students have delays or impairments in fine motor performance, most areas of academic performance in school occupations are negatively affected. So that is where teachers, parents, and OTs can find ways to modify or adapt or help improve fine motor skills for increased participation. Several things influence fine motor skills. One is an intellectual disability. An intellectual disability is usually characterized by limitations in both intellectual functioning and in adaptive behavior. And that covers a huge range of everyday social and practical skills. And it does not mean that these skills can't be learned, but they are learned more slowly. Another factor that influences fine motor skills would be motor disorders. So motor disorders are characterized by malfunctions of the nervous system that can cause involuntary movements or actions of the body. And this impacts the efficiency of how somebody uses their hands. A third influence in fine motor skills would be orthopedic impairments. Orthopedic impairments are characterized by the effect it has on the musculoskeletal system. It's typically the bones and the joints, but this can impact a student's ability to move their arms in a full range, sit up with stability in a chair, move about their classroom, or manipulate classroom materials. A fourth factor that influences fine motor skills could be developmental delays. A developmental delay usually means that the individual does not reach their developmental milestones at the expected times. So when they learn to sit up or walk or do multiple other self-care tasks can be delayed. The fifth factor that influences fine motor performance would be visual impairments. And a visual impairment is a decreased ability to see. which causes problems that are not fixable by corrective lenses. It could be a cognitive visual impairment. It could be legal blindness, decreased vision. So all those would impact a person's ability to perform fine motor tasks. Another area that may influence fine motor skills is the general category of sensory, perceptual, and perceptual skills. So sensory and perceptual skills have subcategories, one of which is the tactile processing. It's how we process input in our skin and touch. Visual perception, which might impact our ability to discern figure ground from foreground, figure continuity, the same shape in a different place, and then visual motor integration, which is how we use our hands and our vision together. And then under visual motor integration is also movement awareness. It's also called kinesthetic awareness, of just having that feedback loop in our brain that tells us where we are in space. So that is another thing that can impact the performance of fine motor tasks.
This section would be working with families and school staff. When making suggestions to the family, OT considers the school routines and family daily routines. Activities that fit into the family's natural routine and preferred activities are the most likely to be consistently implemented at home. Applications of motor learning concepts to fine motor problems. Concept number 1, specificity of learning. Children need opportunities to practice fine motor tasks in their natural environment and routines. Example, OT has preschool children to practice dressing by taking their jackets off, or when they get on and off the bus. They practice donning their jackets when they're in class or preparing to go outside, and taking their jackets off when they're coming back into the school. Another concept, implicit learning. These skills are when children are practicing fine motor skills that allow them to problem solve and learn correct and incorrect patterns. Another example, children, they're given objects and problem solves how to manipulate the objects in different ways.
Continued. Concept. Maximizing opportunities for practice. Repetition is essential for learning fine motor skills in home or at school. An example could be a child should have frequent and repeated opportunities to practice fine motor skills, including drawing puzzles, art, cutting with scissors, and any fine motor activities that are on hand. Continued. Concept. Intrinsic feedback. Intrinsic feedback is important to the child's learning, particularly when first learning, as the child may need encouragement. Example, the OT rewards the child's efforts and persistence with praise and attention. Specific feedback on the quality of performance is particularly helpful, and I know children really love to be praised. Concept transfer of learning. New learning is generalized to a variety of tasks and environments. An example could be the child needs to be given opportunities to practice new fine motor skills in a variety of tasks and natural environments. These tasks should match the child's skill levels, but add a few elements to fine motor skills. In conclusion, OTs and instructional personnel use a range of interventions to support fine motor skills development in the house or at school. In the next video, we will highlight activities that can be implemented during functional daily routines with family and caregivers.
Thank you, Norma, for that. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you so much for being part of this. I just want to say that for the next week, do stay tuned. Do come back to our YouTube channel, and there's going to be a lot of good activities that we're going to provide you as occupational therapists that we provide to students that may benefit from these. And don't worry, these will be activities that you can do at home with what you have. You don't have to go out and shop for things, but things that you already have at home. We're going to give you some good activities, some good tips, some good guidance. So make sure that you stay tuned for next week. We hope that this video was not only informative, but also gives you a peek, some insight into how OTs understand and see how fine motor affects not only performance at school, but then also now performance at home. So stay tuned, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.